We got one dream and that's we got one scheme and that's one theme and that's my whole life and that's one love. One love, got one dream and that's one love. One love, we got one scheme and that's one love. One love, that's one theme and that's one love. It's one love, my whole life. I said there's two of us, we got one dream and that's one love. Yeah, that's one love. Between the both of us, we got one scheme and that's one love. Yeah, that's one love. Our life together has one theme and that's one love. I said that's one love. I'd rather die than live my whole life without that one love. And you that one love. I said there's two of us, we got one dream and that's one love. Yeah, that's one love. Between the both of us, we got one scheme and that's one love. Yeah, that's one love. Our life together has one theme and that's one love. I said that's one love. I'd rather die than live my whole life without that one love. And you that one love, girl. All these girls keep chasing views like they doing something. They ain't doing nothing. And all these boys keep making moves cause they assuming something. Everybody doing fake friends like they crew or something. But all these people make my stomach sick like the flu or something. They crying X cause they prince is gone. We might just flex cause I'm money long. They selling sex cause it's selling strong. I might just bag a check girl and take you home. Yeah, real love I owed you, real love I showed you. I wish for once that you would back me up, but I can't expect that I know you. Cause we been there and then we came through it. Backstabbed and then we undo it. A lot of people said they come through, but when it came to it, ain't one do it. We got one dream and that's we got one scheme and that's one theme and that's my whole life and that's one love. One love, got one dream and that's one love. One love, we got one scheme and that's one love. One love, that's one theme and that's one love. It's one love, my whole life. I said there's two of us, we got one dream and that's one love. Yeah, that's one love. Between the both of us, we got one scheme and that's one love. Yeah, that's one love. Our life together has one theme and that's one love. I said that's one love. I'd rather die than live my whole life without that one love. And you that one love. I said there's two of us, we got one dream and that's one love. Yeah, that's one love. Between the both of us, we got one scheme and that's one love. Yeah, that's one love. Our life together has one theme and that's one love. I said that's one love. I'd rather die than live my whole life without that one love. And you that one love. I got my head down, arms are up. I didn't think life would be this rough. Back and forth, we went do-si-do, and then I packed my bags and I hit the road. We were making moves without a clue. I took my love away from you. Looking back, all regret. My chin is up and you puffed your chest. Cause we're coming for the go, girl, we won't stop. Working and we grind until we hit the top. Everyone is waiting for the love that we are chasing, and the haters will be hating, but we won't stop. Cause we running and we gunning, so watch out cause we coming. One love, we in our feelings, and it's not gonna crumble, yeah. We got one dream and that's we got one scheme and that's one theme and that's my whole life and that's one love. One love, got one dream and that's one love. One love, we got one scheme and that's one love. One love, that's one theme and that's one love. That's one love, my whole life. I said there's two of us, we got one dream and that's one love. Yeah, that's one love. Between the both of us, we got one scheme and that's one love. Yeah, that's one love. Our life together has one theme and that's one love. I said that's one love. I'd rather die than live my whole life without that one love. And you that one love. I said there's two of us, we got one dream and that's one love. Yeah, that's one love. Between the both of us, we got one scheme and that's one love. Yeah, that's one love. Our life together has one theme and that's one love. I said that's one love. I'd rather die than live my whole life without that one love. And you that one love, girl. And you that one love, girl. One love. One love. One love. And you that one love, girl. One love. One love. It's one love. on a bandwagon. Dumb bad through that hellfire. Came out lethal like a red dragon. Same old rapper with the same old flows. Color dreads with the pants sagging. Got that fame, but you sold your soul. You a warlock, I'm the dark assassin. Said thick stacks, mode change, big bags, faux chains. Get that money, said big facts, no games. Big stats, mo fame. We back stunts, said big names. On stage, big
the more
trap,
you hate me, the more you will learn.
That big check, my name, sign that, more rain. Come back, come just come up, hey. Let's be with that drama, hey. Saw that fatty mama, hey. Told her I don't wanna, hey. Come on, with that drama, hey. Saw that fatty mama, hey. Told her I don't wanna, hey.
Old Norman.
The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Testing. Testicles. Welcome everyone to episode 3283 of the Daily Mother Swole, the most muscular swolecast, beercast, broadcast, gamecast, mancast, pimpcast, sleevescast, and slaycast in the realm, because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. What's going on, beaches, booshes, bustas, hustlers, and yo-hos? It's your boy Papa Swolio back with another episode. In today's episode, the Beastcast is brought to you, is powered, is sponsored by Everson K2, flexing on all you beesh. Fam, today is the Fefcast, which means we have overtime at the end of today's show, exclusively for members. Join us over at swolenormousx.com. We'll have the replay for overtime inside the Swolenormous app and Swole TV, if you can't catch it live, but it will be streamed inside the Daily Swole Telegram chat, which is pinned to the top of the Swole Fam Telegram chat for members, so you could find it. It's going to be a lot of fun. We got a new Driving While Gaining, brand new Driving While Gaining, new Balls Deep edits. It's going to be fire. So we'll do that at the end of today's show. So make sure you join the Swole Fam over at swolenormousx.com and get access to all the programs, yoga, meditation, nutrition, and so much more. Everything inside the Swolenormous app, plus all the bonus content. Join us today, swolenormousx.com. Fam, hashtag FEF. It is the Fefcast. And if you don't know what FEF is, fam, why don't you define it in the comments? I look at FEF as your opportunity to narrow down your community, to delete, unfollow, to clean house, a little Swole spring cleaning every single Friday. What are you working on today for FEF? What are you doing to celebrate FEF? Are you cleaning out your contacts? Are you deleting podcasts you don't listen to anymore? Not the Daily Swole, of course. But what are you doing today to celebrate FEF? Hashtag Fuck'em Friday. Hashtag FEF FEF in the comments down below for a chance to win today's Swole card. Now let's get on into that tip. Babe, just an inch. It's cold outside. All right, we got a couple from the app, and then we'll get into some emails. First one today
What's in the box?
is from Elizabeth. She writes, "Hi, my name is Elizabeth, but people call me Liz. I'm here because I just turned 40 and I'm learning a lot about nutrition. I started using weight loss shots. I did lose weight, but gained 25% of it when I stopped them, and I had issues with hair loss and stuff like that. So I decided to do it on my own. But what concerns me is that I lost fat, but also muscle. I have aching mostly in my back, and I want to tone my body. I think I'm still young and I can have a better quality of life for me. And for my kids and husband, I'm definitely willing to follow your program and willing to be inspired, but people looking for a healthy, strong body. Well, welcome to the fam, Liz. Super stoked to have you. And you're willing to follow the program. Well, that's good news. And you're willing to be inspired. Okay. Well, that's a good, I guess you're willing to be inspired. Well, it's time for you to fucking get after it. I'm assuming weight loss shots. Are we talking Ozempic? Are we talking shots like that, like the GLP-1 shit? So maybe, I don't know if Liz is watching live, if there are any other details, but of course the nutrition, very important. Elimination diet, get some beef and eggs, get that going, collagen, start focusing on your sleeps, sun exposure, getting barefoot on grass, just being a human again, getting into yoga and mobility, all those things. So let's get you on a good program. Follow up, Liz, if you have any questions. And you have a lot of progress to make, and we can definitely help you if you are willing to put in the work and to take advantage of all this. So glad to have you here. And 40, you're definitely in the right place. I'm going to be 42 in a couple months. A lot of people around your age are in the Swole fam. You could drop in the comments how old you are to make Elizabeth feel a little bit better, because she probably feels like she's on the back nine, having a lot of pains and issues. But you get on the gain train, you get rid of all these inflammatory foods, X, Y, and Z. And of course, these weight loss shots and things like Ozempic, paralyze your stomach. You lose a lot of muscle mass. I don't like these things at all. I think they're very dangerous, and they are experimental. So even if they've been around for 20 years, people are going to say, well, they've been around for 20 years or X, Y, and Z. Yeah, that's experimental. That's experimental. Vaccines have been around for 100 years, and we know how those things are turning out. So make sure that you understand the timeline. All right. We humans, we have shorter lifespans, so we don't understand how experimental all these things are. Electricity is fucking experimental. Okay. We've had electricity for like 120 years. So a lot of this stuff is new. It's new. All right. This is why we're having a lot of health outcomes and negativity around that, because a lot of blue light, a lot of fluorescent lights, LEDs, poor sleep, no circadian rhythm, inside all day, garbage food, all these different things. So yeah, this is all experimental. The last 100 years have been like a massive experiment with humanity and technology. And we're seeing the side effects of health. We have a lot of information and we have a lot of ability and the wealth to start eating better and to focus on, quote unquote, a luxury of our health, but that should be the primary. So that shouldn't just be a luxury, that should just be a standard. But again, we have the tools at our disposal, so make sure you use them. Make sure you use them. Thanks for being here, Elizabeth, and stoked to have you. Thomas says, good morning, just joined. Yay! Aww. Welcome to the fam, Thomas. My name is Tom, father of 8, and a business owner. I'm here to get my health back. Been working out off and on for my whole life. Stress and food have been my biggest downfall. I'm 6'2" and 280 pounds and would like to get down to 220 to 200. What would you recommend I start on? For work, I do a lot of driving and computer work, bids, etc. Not much physical activity. Start the training program, start the elimination diet. Bing, bang, boom. 90-day dash is the best place to start. Your nutrition is going to be paramount. So better sleep, stress, meditation, quality food, quality sleep. You start with the 7 pillars. You start with the fundamentals. So if you're just kind of getting into it, 90-day dash, man. 90-day dash. Start there. Welcome, welcome. Anyone else have similar feedback or something else you want to add to Thomas? Because a lot of people in the Swole fam, the reason why this is important and the reason why I read these posts, especially for new members, is because people are hesitant. They've never joined a community before. They don't know who is a member, but they know that it speaks to them. They know the 7 pillars make sense. They know that the no bullshit approach that we have makes sense. It seems too easy. It seems simple, but they know that other things and other fads and stuff don't work. They haven't worked. Nothing else is working. And really, it's about those lifestyle changes. And it's simple. I don't want to say it's easy, because you have to cut off a lot of shit in your environment, because most things and people are not fueling you. They're not in your favor. So you really have to cull and cultivate your own environment. And that's what we do here. So thanks for sharing, everyone, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Responding to the email, what do I eat? Katie responds and says, I customize my diet by cutting out all processed garbage and sugar and switching to grass-fed meat, butter, and milk. Well, that's based. For the email, intimidated to go to the gym, Roger responded and said, yo, Papa, I love beef, but can't always afford quality beef, so it's chicken for me. Lots of chicken. I buy eggs by the 5 dozen package. I love me some eggs. Whole foods without creamy sauces and dressings, avocados, lettuce, tomatoes, cucumbers, basmati rice, plain, which means not even butter. Aw, sad face. Lactose-free milk. Beef protein powder, unsalted nuts and soybeans. Tuna fish and sardines, trying to cut out tropical oils. What's a tropical oil? Oh, we're going to get into this one. Drinking only water and tea with no sugar. I do use a pre-workout with a lot of caffeine. No alcohol or tobacco products. Good quality vitamins along with creatine and HMB. I walk and ride a bike along with weight training. I'm 66 years old and trying to keep the old man out. It all boils down to how bad do you want it? Question mark, question mark. All right. Well, let me just get into this. You can't always afford quality beef, so it's chicken for me. I'll be honest with you, it's much harder to find quality chicken. Much harder to find quality chicken than it is quality beef. So grass-fed beef is very affordable, whether it's grass-fed and grass-finished. I really highly recommend looking into beef more rather than chicken. It's much harder to get quality chicken than beef. So let's see. Elimination diet, I would recommend for you, Roger. I would be very mindful, and personally, I would avoid lactose-free milk. I think you would like raw dairy, but kefir it breaks down the lactose, so it's easier to digest. Lactose-free milk is just, really sterilized, pasteurized, bastardized dairy. So not personally a fan of that. Just because you responded, I'm just giving my opinions and based on what you're putting here. Unsalted nuts, Soybeans, definitely a no. Get rid of those. Tuna fish, sardines can be very high in things like BPA in the cans. Just really not super high quality. You can get better quality sardines. Sometimes they're BPA-free cans, but they have other types of toxins in the containers. But sardines aren't bad. Tuna, I would generally avoid, high in mercury and things like that. But sardines can be beneficial if you get wild caught and sustainably raised sardines. I'm not against that. I used to eat them, not so much anymore. I don't know what tropical oils are, but good fats are going to be beef tallow, butter, and ghee. And if anything else, coconut oil, but I would avoid other types of oils. Drinking water and tea, no sugar. Okay, you could use things like raw honey or maple syrup and stuff like that. Use a pre-workout, a lot of caffeine. So again, there's a lot of other additives and things you're getting in your pre-workout with, I'm assuming, and those types of things with high caffeine, depending on when you work out, can negatively affect your sleep quality. So sounds like you have the right intentions, but there's definitely a lot of improvement where it comes to your nutrition. So instead of the vitamins and HMB and stuff like that, I would make sure you narrow down and use that money for higher quality foods and focusing on those high quality nutrients also. So good start, but definitely some areas, in my opinion, where you can improve. So good stuff, Roger. Glad to hear that you are at least trying to navigate things a little bit better. What do I eat? Wanda, last email, and then we'll get into some questions. Wanda says, I am currently lost on the whole nutrition part, and this email has helped guiding towards what I need to eat to be able to see changes. I'm shopping for those ingredients and food prepping, so it'll be easier for me to stick to the plan. Thank you. You're very welcome, Wanda. Appreciate you.
Hi, puppy.
Electrolytes, yes, very important as well. Electrolytes are very, very important. Okay, let's get into some questions. Hashtag Ask Papa Swole. Drop in the comments down below. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. Let me actually, I got to clean off my, clean off this camera a little bit. All right. So if you got questions, drop in the comments. Hashtag Ask Papa Swole, and we'll get into a few questions. Moving right along. First question of the day is going to be from Aries, God of War 3.
What's in the box?
Hashtag theft for a chance to win today's Swole card. Let's get into this one. Bro, how do you get better abs? Better nutrition, better sleep, lowering your stress, maybe around maintenance or a slight caloric deficit, but you need muscle mass. You need muscle mass. People are worried about getting abs when they don't have any muscle. Again, it usually comes down to people trying to cut, and there's nothing to cut to. You're trying to cut down to a skeleton. Most people that want better abs need to build more muscle. So it's your nutrition, it's chronic inflammation, it's your caloric intake, it's your protein intake. It's getting rid of inflammatory foods, and that's going to allow you to see your abs. Everyone has abs. You don't have to be doing tons of fucking crunches and leg raises and stuff like that. Most people are just hitting their hip flexors anyway when they're trying to train their abs. But the reason why you have a gut is because of stress, is because of excessive garbage and inflammation and calorie intake. Church is right here. Pinkston's right over here. She's sleeping. She's sleeping. All right. Hashtag Ask Papa Swole. Drop in the comments. Crazius48. Papa Swole, which exercise do you recommend to start bulk? You get a Matt Damon on this one.
Matt Damon.
Exercise has nothing to do with bulking. You want to put on muscle. So progressive overload. Get on a quality strength training program. I recommend you download the Swolenormous app. Sign up over at swolenormousx.com. Dr. Mojica. Greetings, Papa Swole. How much cardio do you suggest on a cutting phase? By the way, nice hair, dude. Why, thank you. Well, cardio is not going to make or break your cutting. You can do cardio as a seasoning, do it on recovery days or after your training, but going for a walk, doing some short, high-intense interval stuff can be beneficial, but get your strength training locked in. Strength training and nutrition, and then you can add in cardio as long as you're progressively overloading. Unfortunately, a lot of people do so much cardio, they exhaust themselves, and they're not actually building muscle. They're just draining themselves. That's why they look flat or skinny fat. And people that try to cut, but there's nothing to cut to. Again, people they're skinny fat. You don't have enough muscle mass. If you're obese, you don't have enough muscle. If you're skinny, you don't have enough muscle. So when you're skinny fat, in other words, you don't have muscle mass, you're just flabby. You're flabby, but you're not horizontal, right? You might look generally slim, more vertical, but you have no muscle mass. So there's nothing to cut to. There's nothing to cut to. So build muscle. Build muscle. People don't want to hear that because it takes time and it's hard. But that's what you got to do. Charles Wakes, Papa Swole, what's the secret to being consistent and going to the fucking gym? Having purpose, setting a schedule, preparing in advance and getting it done, and stop being a biche. Stop being a biche. Got a lot of biche questions today.
Emotional damage.
Zane Train on TikTok. Papa Swole, do you think form is overemphasized? I see, quote, old school guys just throwing the weight around. Form is never overemphasized. Form is never overemphasized. The problem is, when you watch old school, these guys are taking tons of anabolic steroids and they generally have good form until they start getting towards fatigue and they start throwing the weight around. The most important thing to understand is you don't want to assist the concentric. So if you're doing lat pull downs and you're leaning back and driving the weight down, you're assisting the weight. It doesn't mean you're not necessarily progressively overloading, but what you're doing is you're adding momentum in order to lift the weight and you're taking the stress off the muscles. So form is never to be compromised. You compromise your form, you're not hitting the muscles you're trying to, and it's going to increase your risk of injury because you're lifting heavier than you should and you're putting more stress on your joints. So never sacrifice form. If you see people lifting with shit form, they're usually getting hurt all the time and or they're not making progress. It doesn't mean that people in the past, like Jay Cutler and Ronnie and stuff, don't have things they can improve, but they're also taking tons of growth hormone and lots of anabolic steroids, like 20, 30, 40 different compounds. So there are a lot of other things that can kind of, I don't want to say glaze over, but you see these people that are juiced out of their minds, eating garbage food and fast food and cheat meals and stuff. Well, when you're taking anabolics and certain ones, it changes how your body functions. So you can, quote, get away with certain things that you wouldn't be able to get. You're going to recover faster. You might avoid injury in certain areas. You might be able to lift more with crappier form. Your strength might increase faster than normally it would because you're adding exogenous hormones. So there's different things that maybe you can, quote, get away with. Doesn't mean that it's excusable or good for you. And just understand that a lot of people that take all these anabolic steroids, they do get hurt a lot. A lot of people do get hurt. Their muscles grow really fast. It can tear the tendons off the bones if you're not cycling these things properly. I'm not an expert. I don't take anything like that, but it's really important to understand the risks, and proper form should never be overlooked. Let's see. Rizzo Reflection. How many reps should I be doing to gain more mass? That depends. Progressive overload doesn't care if you're doing 15 reps or 5 reps. More reps leads to more fatigue. You don't need to do 15 reps to tone. You don't need to do 15 reps to build muscle. You could build muscle with any rep range. And I prefer anywhere between like 4 and 8 or 4 to 10. So lifting heavier, training harder, and it will incur less overall fatigue. You'll recover faster and be able to hit the muscle again more frequently. Rye Ebi, Papa Solio, what are the best foods for cutting? Do an elimination diet. Don't eat garbage foods. And then you don't overconsume them. Eating enough protein, maintaining your muscle mass, and your body will take from extra fat stores and lowering cortisol, et cetera, et cetera. So there's no best foods for cutting, but there's foods you shouldn't be eating. You should be eating the same foods when you're, quote, gaining muscle as when you're trying to trim down fat and maybe maintain your muscle mass. So it's the same foods, it's just less of a quality or less quantity of fats and the carbohydrates in that respect. You don't need a crazy surplus, if at all, to build muscle. You just need to scale up your protein, your caloric intake as you start building more muscle. So if you're not progressively overloading, then you're just putting on fat. So if you're gaining weight and you're not getting stronger, you're just putting on fat and water. Yeah, tone doesn't exist. There's no such thing as toning. That's just being leaner. Dewey, Papa Swole, does creatine not absorb well in the body when mixed with hot liquids? I have 5 grams in my first cup of coffee every day, but heard recently it's not as effective in hot liquids. I'll take it. I'll mix it with my morning stuff. I'll put some in coffee also. It might not absorb as well with coffee. I've heard some things like that too. I don't care. If you take enough creatine throughout the day, you're probably going to just be fine. I wouldn't overthink it. How do you feel with it? Are you just taking 5 grams a day or are you taking more? Keith, thanks for the super chat. Papa, how do I stop being a beesh? Well, come on, Keith. You know how to stop being a beesh by not being a beesh. Look in the mirror and tell that little crybaby to cry to his mommy. Aww. Go to the fucking gym.
First, take a big step
Come on.
back.
Stop whining.
And literally fuck your own face!
All right. Road Dog, I need a good coach to get in shape. Join the Swole fam over at swolenormousx.com and download the Swolenormous app. Join the Swole fam today and access all of our amazing content in the Swolenormous app. Link is in my bio if you're on Instagram. TikTok. Buy one, get one 50% off. Got the bulk oversized pump cover today with the Swolenormous logo. We got Toxic Muscularity, GTTFG. We have a lot of cool new designs over there on the website, papasolio.com. Joel, Papa Swolio, how often do you trim your beard? Every 2 weeks. John says no one looks down the road for bodybuilders and professional athletes. They live a life of hell getting over, lots of pain, mental problems from concussions. Take care of yourself, fam. Yeah, there's only a few bodybuilders from the heyday like Lee Haney, Jay Cutler. There's a few people, Kevin Levrone, that have actually not like just fallen apart after competing. And I think it goes back to just the quality of their training. Maybe, probably it's also comes down to the quality of their training. Obviously, Ronnie Coleman did a ton of like powerlifting, super heavy, but when you're taking that much stuff, you still have a human body. So you're going to wear things down. You're going to have X, Y, and Z issues. And of course, everyone's different, but I don't know exactly what Ronnie Coleman was taking, but you can imagine how fucking much it was. Same thing with Jay Cutler, but he wasn't lifting to the same extent as Ronnie Coleman was in terms of like the powerlifting. Remember those videos like Cost of Redemption, 4-6 weeks out, 8 weeks out from the Olympia, and he's like squatting or deadlifting 800 pounds and crazy shit like that. Sean on TikTok, is it required to load creatine if you're new to it? No. 5 grams a day is fine, and even more has been shown to have even more cognitive benefits, et cetera, et cetera. So you don't have to load creatine, but at least 5 grams a day is a good idea for most people. Omar Hizaif on Instagram stories, can 10 kilogram dumbbells build amazing muscle over time? No. I mean, you're going to build some muscle, but after you are able to handle 20-pound dumbbells, you're going to need 30-pound dumbbells and 40-pound dumbbells and 50-pound dumbbells. There's a reason why professional bodybuilders don't lift 20 pounds their entire careers, right? You get stronger, you build more muscle. Okay? So you need more weight. You're not going to be able to progressively overload if you're not adding more weight and or more reps. Happy birthday, Alvaro. Happy birthday. Okay, one more from Instagram stories. Last chance for questions. Make sure you keep on dropping your questions on TikTok and Rumble and YouTube. CW85, best exercises for trap building. That's a good question. Upper back row. Great exercise, or like the hammer strength low row machine. T-bar rows are great with the elbows flared. Kelso shrugs are also going to be amazing options. You can do Kelso shrugs with dumbbells. You can do it on a Smith machine. You can do it with a barbell. Great exercise. You could also do it on a T-bar row machine. And a Kelso shrug is literally when you're leaning on an incline. There's varying degrees of an incline you could do. And retracting your scapula, so you're going to hit the upper and middle traps fantastically. So Kelso shrugs are goated. Basil, what's your opinion on RFK getting blackmailed? I don't know if that's true. I think that's just leftist talking points. I don't think there's any truth behind it. There might be. I don't know. I don't know if there's anything's come out of that. I've heard something, but there's a lot of garbage floating around on the internet. Everyone's, quote, blackmailed because things don't happen instantly when they get in office, right? You get elected, you're part of this government machine trying to tear it apart, but you have an entire machine that's designed for you not to tear it apart. And there's so much red tape and all these incentivized parties and lobbyists and stuff that slow the movement of government. So just because you have people that are getting in government trying to change things doesn't mean things happen quickly. Just go to the DMV and see how effective government is, and you see how much shit there has to be to improve. The systems are garbage. So I'm not convinced one way or the other. So hopefully we see more improvements, like that announcement that they're going to get rid of artificial dyes and stuff in certain foods. Oh, Pepsi's going to remove red dye or whatever it is from their foods. I want to know what they're replacing it with. So I'm not convinced that it's going to be replaced with anything better. I want to see what actually happens, but the intent is there, or the intent is in the right direction. David Gray on TikTok, as a natty, what are your recommendations for how many days a week in a gym? Anywhere between 3 and 5, depending on your split and your volume and your recoverability. Again, if your nutrition and recovery and sleep and everything's on point, you can recover faster from certain workouts, but it depends. Sometimes you might want to do a little bit more volume and do an upper, lower, or full body split, and you're going to need more recovery. You're going to need a recovery day after that, or 2 days on and then 1 or 2 days off. If you're training, let's say an upper, lower, and a push, pull, legs kind of split, so you're doing like 4 or 5 days, you just need to make sure that there's the awareness of how much volume you're doing on each day. That way you can train more consecutive days. So if you're trying to train back-to-back days, you shouldn't be doing tons of volume. You need to monitor that so you can recover for the next day, because it's not just local fatigue, it's systemic fatigue. Jarella says, why are all those dyes there at all? Stupid. I agree. I agree with that. Bradley, I've been going to the gym for a few weeks. What's a good protein supplement and pre-workout to use? You need to focus on your nutrition. A few weeks in, you're just getting started. So a good grass-fed whey protein. Collagen is important. Electrolytes are important. But you want to make sure that whatever proteins you're using are grass-fed and you're not getting artificial flavors and sweeteners unflavored. Remember, you're not consuming those things for the flavor. You're consuming them for the function. Austin, do you have any tips on hitting delts? Yeah, you could train shoulders twice a week if you're doing upper lower or some sort of, split like that. But delts don't need a lot of work in a session. Probably 2 sets for your delts. You don't need to do, it's redundant to do an overhead press and a lateral raise in the same workout. You don't need a shoulder day. That's ridiculous. If you're doing a push day, you can add in an overhead press or a lateral raise on a push day or on a pull day or an upper day. But I would just filter these things in. Remember, you don't have to do every exercise every session. So one time when you hit shoulders, you could do a set or 2 of overhead press. That's going to hit the anterior and the middle deltoid. And then on a different workout, you could do lateral raises, which is going to hit the anterior deltoid and the middle deltoid. So you don't have to do them on the same session. And when we talk about shoulder training, we're not talking about each part of the shoulders. We're just talking about the shoulders overall. So in a session, I'm not going to probably do more than 2 sets for shoulders, if that. Remember, progressive overload is not about the volume. cruelty can the president fix a state? Cough, California. California is a lost cause. Videos out of LA are just depressing, and it's like a third world country. So until California gets out of the one state, the Democrats have run California for like a century. Maybe not literally, but 50, 60, 70 years. So they've run that state into the ground. That's an example of what happens when you have a uniparty state. And it's a shame because California is beautiful. And it's only these specific areas. It's LA, it's what? LA, San Francisco. It's these major metropolitan areas that are ultra liberal and kind of run the state. But California is a hot mess. So you need the people to leave and or actually get their shit together. But look, California is like Canada. If the people don't want to make change, then they're just going to keep on burning their shit to the ground and people are going to leave. People are going to continuously leave California until there's nothing left. It's a shame. It's a shame. The weather's nice, but every time I was out there, it's just weird. It's just weird. A lot of virtue signaling and people are just full of shit. It's just fake. Very fake. I've spent time in the San Francisco area. I've spent time in LA. It's just, I didn't like it at all. Didn't like it at all. Sheena says, I have officially theft my addiction to sugary foods. Yesterday at my office, there was a spread of scones, cinnamon rolls, and cookies. Wasn't even a little bit tempted to eat it. Oof. Ew. Gross. Lawson Dawson says, I know this is random, but I just got lean ground beef, and damn, it's nowhere near as good as fattier beef. Yeah, I prefer 85-15. Anything more is just a little bit lean for my liking. And if you're getting grass-fed beef, get that fat, bro. Get that fat. Dijor, I forgot you existed. I didn't even know you existed. So, welcome to the show. Welcome to the live stream. Beef tallow is great. Last chance for questions. Drop in the comments down below. David Gray, 2432. What would you recommend as far as exercising for strength gain? To Taylor? I don't know who Taylor is. If someone else, I don't remember the screen name I read before. I don't know who Taylor is. Basil, would you recommend putting collagen in your coffee? Yes, absolutely. I have it in my coffee right now. Collagen's fantastic. Dave Cox. Good name. Good name.
Because
If you aren't getting enough sleep, is it still worth pushing through a gym session or take a break? Well, what does that mean? You should be focusing. Sleep is paramount. So you really got to get enough sleep. But I mean, if you're in a situation where you're only getting 6 hours of sleep, it's like, hey, do I never work out or do I push it? You got to train. You got to train. That's important, but you really have to work on your sleep. So both. It shouldn't be one or the other. It shouldn't be one or the other. But the important thing to understand is that maybe if you're not getting ideal sleep while you're working on that, you don't do a training split that's going to be extremely exhausting. You do like a full body 3 times a week, focus on your sleep. That way you're getting the stimulus, but you're keeping the volume very low so you can recover as much as possible and keep working on those sleep habits. So for me, if something happens and I get garbage sleep, I'm probably not going to train the next day because I know I'll be able to recover. But I mean, that rarely happens. But if you're really, I mean, you got to do it. You got to train, but you should be doing both these things at the same time. It shouldn't be either or. Collagen's fantastic. I take collagen in the morning. I'll take it after my workout and I'll take it before bed. So I'll do 20 to 40 grams a day. American Idiot, I'm law enforcement and have issues putting on muscle due to call volume. What should I do? Simplify your training split. Do upper, lower, or full body. So you don't need a lot of volume. That's the thing. You just need progressive overload. So you can really simplify your workouts. You could do full body and maybe instead you just pick a few exercises. You could do a press. You could do a row. You could do a press, a row, some sort of shoulder, and then do legs, right? You could do a squat and then a hip hinge. Boom. 5 exercises, 10 sets. That's your workout. 2 sets each, and then train again in a day or two. So if you don't have a lot of time, you need to create the stimulus. You need to make it as efficient as possible. So maybe you don't have the luxury of doing, sitting there and doing an arm day. You don't need that. You don't need an arm day. You only need a set or so. And you're getting accessory work when you're doing heavy pressing and pulling movements. So you have to simplify your training protocol. So there's a lot of different training splits, and there's no right answer to a training split. It really depends on your intensity, your volume, your recoverability. Some people can recover faster, like these guys that are taking anabolic steroids. People say, well, I'm doing the Arnold twice a day. You're not Arnold. You're not taking what Arnold takes. Your whole life isn't revolving around bodybuilding, so you shouldn't be doing that. And most people, even that are pro bodybuilders, even in Arnold's day, didn't train the way Arnold did. So he might be just like a fluke, obviously. But even if he did better, maybe he would have had even better results. Arnold was great, but maybe he would have been even better if he didn't overdo it. And how long was he doing that for? How long was he doing that split for? That was likely just for a certain period of time. It's not like he trained like that forever. When you see people, when you see these like old school golden era videos, don't forget, you're not seeing the injuries. You're not seeing the burnout. You're not seeing how wiped out they were. You're not seeing any setbacks. You're just seeing some nice golden vintage coloring, and you're seeing Arnold train hard and do all this stuff. You're not seeing like the 3 hours in the gym, 4 hours. You're not seeing all this just excessive. You're acting like these guys never got injured or never had tendonitis or pain or remember, the movie Pumping Iron doesn't change. It's the same scenes every time. You don't see everything behind the scenes. So you don't know what's going on with all these people. They have lives too, and they had work, and they were doing roofing, and they were doing other things to make money because they weren't making a lot with bodybuilding. So anyway, we just talked about collagen and coffee. Would I recommend it? Well, I do it. So sure. I mean, I love it. I would recommend it. This is coffee with raw cream, maple syrup, collagen, and some cinnamon. Very fancy. Very fancy. Chawl624 on Rumble. So 11 workouts for full body is too much. What do you mean 11 workouts? 11 exercises? Nothing's too much or too little. You have to understand the context. So 11 different exercises, 1 set each is not too much. But like I said the other day, it's going to take longer because you're setting up more exercises. So and again, I like full body. But if I do full body, I need to do it a certain way that makes it more efficient, because setting up 11 different exercises, even for 1 set, because you're not just setting it up and then going all out. You're setting it up, doing 1, 2, or 3 warm-up sets, and then you're setting up another exercise. So if you're at a full gym, it could be a pain in the ass. You're going all over the gym, different places. I have my own gym, and it still takes time. I have to load plates on certain things. I have to walk through the machines. I have to set it up and move over here. So sometimes, instead of, let's say, doing 1 set for 11 different exercises, doing 5 exercises, 2 sets, it's easier, because if you do an all-out set and you're going to do another one, like not a drop set, but a back-off set or another set trying to match your reps, I don't have to set up another exercise. So doing 5 exercises, 2 sets, and doing 10 total sets is going to take a lot less time than doing 10 different exercises, 1 set each. Make sense? But it depends on your recoverability, how many times a week you're training. If you want to do 3 days a week, full body's great. Because you also have to understand, if you're training for an hour and a half, you're not training the next day. So you're saving time. If you space that out every day, that's technically 45 minutes. But it doesn't really matter the length of time. It depends. Length of time matters if you have a certain amount of time that you need before you go to work. If you work at 6 a.m. and it's everything in your power to get up at 4:30 and get to the gym at 4:45, so you could train for an hour and then 15 minutes to work, you have an hour. So you need to make sure that your split allows you to train in that hour. You have to be very efficient. So if you have a limited amount of time, okay, I have an hour, then you really need to have to program and really be on point with that. If you're like, hey, I go to the gym 4 days a week, on my off days, I have all the time in the world to train. Not that you should train for 4 hours, but if you have extra time and that's what you like to do and that's what you're going to stick to, then do it. Again, if you're progressively overloading, you're making progress. You just need to be consistent with that. So you want to pick something that you could be consistent with. And the problem with TikTok and Instagram is people are changing their splits every week. And you don't want to change your split every week. It could be subtle. You could do upper lower and then throw in a full body, or you can do upper lower and throw in like a push pull legs, depending on your split and depending on your flow. But you need to understand the overall context, because if you're doing upper lower push pull legs, that's twice a week. You're training every body part twice a week. You could also just do upper lower, upper lower. You could also do full body every other day. So there's a lot of different options. You could do upper lower and then shit, I'm not gonna be able to train on Thursday, or on Thursday, so let me just I'll do upper lower Monday, Tuesday, and I'll just do a full body on Friday and full body on Sunday or something. Or I'll do upper lower on Monday, Tuesday, and then do upper lower on Friday, Saturday or something. Like, you can pivot like that, but you want the exercise and the intent and the approach to be the same. If you're changing rep schemes all the time, you're changing splits all the time, you're changing exercise all the time, that's not progressive overload. That's just novel stimulus, and you're going to shoot yourself in the foot for your progress. Do I think having 3 leg days a week, 6 days working out is a good idea? No, I don't. If you're doing leg days 3 a week, you're not recovering enough. Definitely not with 6 days a week. So you might be better off having 2 leg days a week or doing full body every other day. You could still bias certain body parts. Remember, what body parts are you trying to bias? And then train those with priority. Trafalgar, how do I avoid a sleeper build? By getting big. Who wants a sleeper build? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. People that like is, I have a sleeper build. You're not big enough. You don't have muscle if you have a sleeper build. Oh, you can't tell that I'm big until I flex. Then you're not big. And then you're not big. A sleeper build is you don't look big. A sleeper build is you don't look big. Okay, so you're not big. If you wear super baggy clothes and no one sees your body, it's like, that's not a sleeper build. You're just covering it up. There's no such thing as a sleeper build. Either you have muscle or you're not. A sleeper car is like a Civic that looks stock on the outside, but they have a turbocharger and all this stuff, and it goes 0 to 60 in whatever seconds. That's a sleeper car. It looks stock, but it's not. A sleeper build is, I look like I have no muscle. It's like, okay. Who wants a sleeper build? That's the worst. I don't look big, but I'm strong. Well, that's stupid. I want to look big. I don't want a sleeper build. Yeah. Yeah. Good luck with that sleeper build. Who wants to look tiny? Can you recommend lifts that are good to do warm-up sets on? All of them. If you have an upper body day and you're getting towards biceps and triceps, you're doing that after chest, back, and shoulders, you might only need 1 warm-up set, maybe 2. But don't forget, you want to make sure you're getting your muscles and your nervous system ready for an all-out set. So you don't have to do, like, warm-up sets or preparation sets are not like you're getting a burn and you're getting a pump and you're going to failure. You're just getting your body ready for that all-out set. And lifting weights and putting some weight on the bar and doing a couple reps and putting a little bit more weight and doing a rep or 2 and then loading up for your full all-out set is important, because you get that kind of like post-activation potentiation. You get that, the neurological activation of those muscle fibers in order to recruit all the motor units for that all-out effort. That's why just putting all the weight on the bar fresh, I didn't do any warm-up sets, and going all out, you're not going to get everything that you could be out of your set because of you're not warming up. Do I recommend raw oysters or cooked? I mean, I like raw oysters if I'm going out to eat, fresh, of course. I don't eat cooked oysters. If I go get oysters, I'm getting them raw. Renee on YouTube, what kind of cardio do you prefer? Well,
Is this a list of things I did to your mom last night?
I'd be the luckiest guy alive if that did it for me.
oh yeah, that's the best kind of cardio. Do I recommend amino acids? I don't take BCAAs or anything like that. MRI, have you done a parasite cleanse? No, but I'm open to it. What, take some ivermectin and just poop out some worms? I think a lot of people have parasites probably. I mean, everyone probably does to some extent. Could be a good idea if you have a lot of autoimmune issues. Again, your body is going to cleanse itself out if you're eating better foods. Just keep in mind that when you take some of these things, it can kill good bacteria also. So there's really, depends on what you mean by that, like what you're actually planning on doing for that. But a lot of people have issues. Look, you have all these crazy fucking cat ladies that probably have like toxoplasmosis and all these like horrible diseases that you can get from just being around cats and shit in the house and stuff like that. So you have a lot of people that are mentally insane. And yeah, if you eat garbage and you surround yourself with filth and toxins, you probably have a lot of stuff in your body. So it could be a good idea, especially if you have a lot of autoimmune issues. It's something to look into, especially with the elimination diet and so on and so forth. But your body will regenerate and cleanse itself if you eat quality foods and take care of yourself. But it could be something to look into if you're out of other options. I don't think it's a new fad. I think people do have issues with that. I'm not a parasite expert, but it's definitely something. Look, you don't want to leave any stone unturned. If you have a lot of issues, it's something to look at. It's something to look into. Why makes a percentage of gyms so toxic to people starting out? What gym is toxic to people starting out? A percentage of gyms? Why are some gyms toxic to people starting out? I don't think most gyms are toxic to people starting out. I think people are toxic to themselves and they think everyone cares about what their situation is. People don't care what you're doing. People walk around like everyone's watching me. People are judging me, this, that, and the other. It's like you're in your own head. It's the same thing. If I say something that's, quote, offensive, you're just offended by it. You're just getting offended. Is what I said offensive, or are you just sensitive and internalizing things? You're just telling your own story about what I said. If you're getting offended by something someone says, that's a you problem. It's not the person saying it. So people are self-conscious. They're narcissistic. They think people all, they're the main character. No one cares. So people are usually adding that narrative that the gym is toxic when they're toxic to themselves. Mark says, unless you're one of those shitfluencers with a whole ass camera crew with them. Yeah, I agree with that. Look, if you're going to bring in a camera crew, make sure you talk to the gym and say like, hey, I want to bring in like someone filming me. Because if you're setting up a little camera, tripod, or a little magnet thing, you're just filming your form, that's probably not going to interfere with anyone doing something. But if you have like lights, you need to get permission from a gym because you're going to take up space. They might be like, yeah, if you do this between like 1 and 3, that's cool because there's less people in the gym. But if you have someone with a camera, that's just more space. And if you're by the dumbbell rack or someplace where there's not a lot of space moving around, it's like people are filming, and that's why I like having my own gym. I don't want to go to gyms anymore and film and wait for machines and fuck that shit anymore. I spent enough time in gyms to be like, nah, I don't want to do that anymore. I'm going to build my own gym. I'm going to have my own stuff, and I'm happy. Anyway, that's something that makes me happy, and it was worth the investment. Have I ever thought about joining the WWE? No. No. Home gyms for the win, man. Home gyms for the win. Home gyms are great. Talk about the greatest investment ever. The greatest investment ever. So look, if I take all, I have to do the math, but if I take all the money I've spent on gym equipment for my home and I divide that out by like the rest of my life, I think I did the math. It's probably like a couple $100 a month for a membership, but it's worth every moment. I never have to have a gym membership again. I never have to deal with anyone again. I can do whatever exercise whenever I want, however I want. And for me in my life, that's just been worth it. That's worth the cost. Yeah, you pay more money up front, but that's totally fine with me. Look, most people are going to spend $20, $30 a month. There's nothing wrong with it. I've done it the majority of my life. But look, when you pay $20 or $30 a month, this is what you get. You get people filming in the gyms. You get maybe some rude people. You get busy gyms. It's like that. You get what you pay for. If you go to a gym and you're paying $300 a month and it's a high-end gym, you're going to get less people. You get a higher quality member. You get people that are willing to spend for other amenities. I'm not saying it's better. I'm not saying it's not crowded either. You could spend $200 or $300 in a gym like Lifetime Fitness and it could still be slammed, but you get higher quality amenities and usually you get a higher quality customer. And I'm not saying you're not a quality person because you can't afford that. It's just people pay for certain privileges. You know, there are gyms that exist. I'm in Florida. You can spend $5,000, $10,000 a month for like an exclusive membership to like a lifting club and there's barely anyone there, but that's what you're paying for. So some of these people that pay $5,000, they have a membership to like a club and it's exclusive for millionaires and billionaires. It's like, yeah, you're paying to not have to wait for machines and not have a crowded gym. It's just, that's a product for that kind of thing. Or you could spend that money on a home gym and it's the same type of thing. So you spend $10 a month for Planet Fitness, you get Planet Fitness. And I'm not saying Planet Fitness is bad. It's a gym. It's an affordable gym. And I think they've been getting some more equipment, but I don't like the mentality of Planet Fitness. I don't like the lack of weights and stuff. I think they've been getting more machines because people are probably like clamoring for it. And plus, when gyms expand, they'll buy other gyms that have equipment that Planet Fitness doesn't originally have. So if they buy a gym that had all these other machines and they change the colors of it, they might still keep those machines. But bottom line, those types of gyms like Planet Fitness charge rock bottom prices because most people that go to Planet Fitness don't go. They don't cancel $10 a month. They make it a pain in the ass to cancel. So they go for volume rather than quality. If I go to a gym, there better not be an alarm going off because I'm lifting heavy. They better have dumbbells that go over 50 pounds and all that shit, But you do what you can. You do what you can. If that's all you have the thing is, you have Planet Fitnesses that show up in shopping malls in small towns that's the only gym. Cool, use it. But there's pros and cons, right? The pro of having your own home gym is that X, Y, and Z. Depends on the space too. Like, so the pro of me having like a whole commercial gym at my house, I have the pro of X, Y, and Z, having everything I need. The con is paying the money up front, maintaining the equipment. And of course, it might get some rust or it might get, a canopy might rip or something and it gets flooded or wet, but it's just some water. You grease it up. The machine's fine. So pros and cons, it's worth it to me. Not a big deal. Water's not going to destroy it, especially if you keep the machines greased. Everyone's always like, how do you keep your equipment? And I don't care if there's some surface rust, this and the other. Pads can be replaced, but as long as you keep the metal moving parts lubricated, it's totally fine. I don't care about the cosmetics. I want them to work functionally, and you could always replace belts and cables and stuff, and they've been fine. Especially if you use it regularly. If you don't use them, it's just sitting in the sun, cooking and getting rained on and rusted, and you never move these things. Yeah, they're going to fall apart. Jeremy, I ordered my first Swole apparel yesterday. First order. You got a hat. I'm official. Nice, dude. Nice. Good stuff, man. Thank you for the support. Enjoy your hat. Sheena says, once my kids move out, I'm totally expanding my home gym. My son was just accepted to Ithaca College, so he'll be leaving in the dorms for the next couple years. Oh, yeah. I didn't go to Ithaca, but I went there on a tour for baseball back in the day. I got my first ticket driving back from Ithaca on the highway in New York. Gotta love that state. I was going 70. I was going the speed of traffic, actually slow. I was going slower than the speed of traffic, but it was 70 and a 55. Having 55 miles an hour on a highway is criminal, by the way. That's ridiculous. It was like 70 and a 55 and cars were flying past me and I got pulled over. I was like, okay. I got pulled over my little shitty Honda Civic. Yeah, thanks. That really helped. Cool. Appreciate you. There's the Tainty Man, by the way. Aww. Store Machine says, I have a pretty nice home gym, but I go to Planet Fitness sometimes. Some equipment I don't have, and it complements my program. Well, there you go. So I can still have opinions about a certain gym. I don't like the mentality. I don't like the mindset. But again, there's a lot of them. So it can be a cheap membership that can complement your program. You go in, do your work, and you leave. It's fine. You don't even have to like it. You go in, use the stuff to your maximum capacity, and then bounce. You don't have to live there. And going to Planet Fitness doesn't label you. It's not like, oh, you suck. You work out at Planet Fitness, right? You can make a lot of gains. They have a lot of weights. So I'm not trolling it for anything else, but we all know the shitty things about it. Stupid lunk alarm and pizza parties, and no one should be offended. Oh my God, someone's in good shape. Oh, hope you don't feel bad that someone's exercising and working out harder than you. So I don't like the mindset behind it. I'm sure it's changing over time, but you don't have to believe in all their victimhood nonsense to utilize their gym. Renee, have you ever wanted to compete in bodybuilding? No, I never wanted to compete. I never wanted to take it that far. How long did it take for you to grow your hair? I don't know. I've had long hair for decades. I didn't set a timer. Shocker, when you eat quality food and you don't cut your hair and you trim it and it's going to grow longer and longer. Who knew? Who knew?
Wow.
Wow. Wow. You were a younger guy with probably out-of-state plates, and you're an easy target. I mean, Connecticut plates. So Connecticut and New York are right next to each other, so not really out of state. Technically, but it's not like I was from Kentucky or something. You know, if you're in Connecticut, you see Massachusetts and New York and New Jersey plates all the time. If you're in Connecticut, you see a New York plate, you're not like, oh my God, New York plates. Out of state. A lot of areas, especially the area that I was in. You're in the west coast of Connecticut. I mean, people live in New York, work in Connecticut, or vice versa all the time. Just cross the state lines. New Jersey and New York and all that stuff. Drella says, my Planet Fitness is very permissive. The only time they honk the horn is when someone was making loud sex noises and banging the machines. Well, if someone's being an asshole, then yeah, that makes sense. Agreed, Dewey. Agreed. Dewey says the cop knew you weren't going to be able to show up to court and we just have to pay it. Yeah, agreed. Agreed. Fair enough. This was like 2000. It was like 2000, I think. I'm not holding a grudge. I was born in New York, so I'm not holding a grudge against New York because I got a ticket there. So I got many more tickets I've gotten many more tickets in Florida. But that was when I had like tints on my, there's other stuff. Store Machine, I'm the one that made the rant about Planet Fitness a few weeks ago. I made a long review about how I felt, and they are being super nice to me now. I think it helped. I forget the story, but I kind of vaguely remember it. You want to recap it? Jarella says, it was insane at my Planet Fitness. He was going, ugh, and slamming weights repeatedly, but the gym is near a homeless shelter, so sometimes unstable people get memberships just to shower, but they get a little wild sometimes. Yeah, a lot of people do that. A lot of people have a membership, like a nationwide membership, because they travel or they're vagrants or whatever, and they just use the facilities to shower and to this, that, and the other, so... Renee, do you have an opinion on GLP-1 garbage or helpful for certain peeps? Well, I'm sure everything is helpful for a small percentage of the population, but I think they're very dangerous. And I think they're experimental drugs. I don't think they're it doesn't have the long term that people think. It's like, even if some of them have been around, like semaglutides for like 20 years or whatever, that's very short. That's very short. And also the concentration and the volume as to which people are taking them. So a lot of people have massive side effects, blindness, it paralyzes your stomach. And some people in the comments, whenever I post like on X, aka Twitter, and then share the post on Instagram, people are, oh my God, well, I'm exercising, I'm lifting weights, and I eat well, and I also take GLP-1s. What about both? Because I say gym over Ozempic. well, what about both? What about gym and eating well and taking Ozempic? And it's like, well, why don't you just go to the gym and eat well and leave the Ozempic? I saw results because I started eating well and I started going to the gym and I take that. Well, maybe there's another reason why you saw great progress. Maybe you stopped eating shit and started lifting weights. Maybe you could try that without the injection. Ooh. Yeah, Mark, that's a shirt. Gym over Ozempic. Yeah, I should create one. I should create that shirt. Durr. PapaSwolio.com. Buy one, get one, 50% off. Let's go.
I am the danger.
Good question. DG says, did you all take your daily 2 scoops of shut the fuck up and go to the fucking gym? Did you all? Drop in the comments. Sounds like some people in this chat need 3 scoops, so maybe want to take another one. You'd buy it? It's already there. The Ozempic over gym shirt, that's already been there. That's why it was a joke. It's already available over on the website. So if you're on TikTok, click the link in bio. All right, let's move on to some Balls Deep. Plus, we have overtime for members. Join us, swolenormousx.com. If you're on TikTok, click the link in bio. You'll see links for the app, memberships, programs, all that stuff, merch. Everything is on papaswolio.com. In the menu, you can find the podcast links there as well. So thanks for being here, Beaches. Come on over to Rumble and the Daily Swole and YouTube the Daily Swole for the rest of the show. Good stuff. All right, so let's continue. Let's continue. Alex, have you ever gotten tickets when driving while gaining? Never. Don't jinx it. Never. 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 I'm very aware, and I know people are like, oh my God, be careful while you're driving. Whenever I do drive while gaining, the earlier ones, that's why I was kind of talking when I was on the highway, but I just go through a little circuit where I'm driving like 10 miles an hour and I'll do the driving while gaining. And it's wide open. It's very easy to see people and cars. Like I'm not driving in heavy traffic and driving in a place where I don't know what's going on. I'm always watching the road. If I have glasses on, I'm not looking at the camera really. So it's second nature to do it driving while gaining. No worries. We're all good. We're all good here. All right, fam, let's go balls deep. Let's do it.
That's deep.
All right, if you're not on the email list, go to makeemailswoleagain.com. Makeemailswoleagain.com. Get on the email list today. Let's get into some shizzy. Let's see what we got here. Drop a number, 1, 2, or 3. Let's get into some X-Files. Let's see what we got here. Let's get into some X-Files. Let's just see what's on. Let's just, you know what? We're just going to do a new part of this segment as you drop the numbers. Let's see what we got on my timeline. You know, sometimes let's just see what's popping up. I'm not saying these things are true. I'm not sharing these. These aren't like topics that I preordained. I'm just opening up a timeline and trending stuff. Let's just see what pops up. Okay, so this is not planned. I haven't even read this yet. Let's just see what's popping up on X. Could be trash, could be garbage, probably is. Let's see this post. This is just what's popping up first on my timeline right now. The Canadian government has begun ramping up testing for a chilling new COVID mRNA Aerovax that seeks to overcome vaccine hesitancy by using aerosols to vaccinate the general public. What? Is this legit? Oh, that's long. Holy post. Well, let's check this out because we're talking Canada, right? Unlike traditional vaccines that are deployed using injections, the new Aerovax is an atomized spray that is inhaled. Is this true? The new, quote, vaccines are sprayed in aerosol form and breathed in by recipients. The Aerovax was developed by researchers at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation funded McMaster University in Canada. According to researchers, the Canadian government's Institutes of Health Research has now invested $8 million in taxpayer funding into the Aerovax project as scientists prepare for the next round of clinical tests. The scientists developing the experimental Serova COVID mRNA vaccine, this is all in quotes, insist that it'll be administered as a nasal spray. Ooh. However, the development of inhaled vaccines could allow for large numbers of people to be, quote, vaccinated at once if the Aerovacs were sprayed into the atmosphere. Oh, Jesus Christ. If the Aerovacs were deployed atmospherically, it could, quote, vaccinate entire towns and cities at once, bypassing individual consent. Populations could become, quote, vaccinated without their knowledge under such a scheme. By Frank Bergman, May 1st, 2025. Yo. Wild. And again, I'm not saying this is true. These are the X-Files. This is just on my timeline. So have you guys heard about this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Everyone's like, people think there's chemtrails and all this different stuff. I'm definitely sketched out about it. There's a lot of government releases and things about how they do control weather and how they do seed, right? Wasn't it something in the UK recently, how they're trying to block out the sun or, launch things into the atmosphere in order to block the sun? Didn't they do something recently in the UK? As if the UK gets any sun already. I thought that was the most wild thing, that the UK is going to block the sun. Yo, you don't get sun already. As if the UK doesn't have the same planet as the rest of us. So any other country that's going to launch things into the atmosphere is just absolutely fucking criminal because it's the same planet. You think it's just going to go into the air? You're going to release particles and it's just going to stay and hover over the UK, right? It just doesn't make any sense. So anyway, what are your guys' thoughts on this? Canada, what is happening? What is happening in Canada? We got another post. Let's bring this up. This one's from Nick Carter. Let's see what we got here. Again, X-Files. We're just seeing what's on the timeline. One of my biggest realizations these last few years is that being smart doesn't make you better at apprehending the truth. In fact, it's often inversely related, since smart people are more adept at crafting and believing elaborate fantasies. I think it's also this cognitive dissonance, because if you're in college and you're in university, guess what they do? They teach you to ignore certain principles. It's indoctrination. It's not education, because college doesn't teach you doesn't teach you how to think critically. It teaches you how to respond and do as you're told. So it's just indoctrination. So you have, quote, smart people, and they're not really smart. They're just easily programmed people. And they're able to pretend like this fragile environment, this fragile social structure that we have is something that's written in stone or carved into stone, or it's carved into steel. But it can break. It's a house of cards. So society is only structured and functioning as long as people are going along with it. And more people are, quote, waking up because they're seeing all this stuff as a bullshit fucking scam. And what happens when you have overwhelming amounts of people that are just saying, nope, I'm opting out. Nope, I'm not buying this bullshit anymore. So what we have now is really a split in our society of people that are seeing the shit for what it really is and pushing back on. Everyone else is still in the matrix, like, no, you are a conspiracy theorist. You're ridiculous. All these things that the mainstream media is telling us are absolutely true. And it's actually kind of a sign of not necessarily low IQ, but just easily programmed individuals. And unfortunately, we have this association that anyone in a white coat, well, you must have all the information. Let's put an actor in a white coat. Well, they're wearing a white coat, so they must be telling you the truth. All the doctors say, 9 out of 10 doctors say the COVID vaccine is 100% safe. I don't give a shit. They're programmed. They're indoctrinated. They don't know about health. They know how to give you prescriptions and keep you sick so they can keep on milking the insurance companies. Conspiracy theorists are like batting 1,000. So I'd lean towards that before. All right, let's see what else we got here. What else is on the timeline? That's a good one. We got some good quotes. Let's just keep on seeing the timeline. Good quote here. Alex Hormozy, real friends want you to win. And once you start winning, you realize how rare real friends are. This is perfect for Fef. This is perfect for Fuck 'em Friday, because every time I'm talking about community, pillar number 1, I'm talking about you being your own community. You got to start there. So if you have family or friends, and I put that in quotes, family literally, but family in quotes, and friends in quotes, But then, of course, you start taking care of yourself, you start doing better for yourself. What happens? Everyone turns on you and starts shitting on you and giving you issues and talking trash and kind of like chiding you or undercutting you trying to excel. Your real friends are going to be stoked for you. Your real friends are going to be actually truly excited for you and want you to succeed. This is why it's more lonely. This is why it's more lonely when you follow the 7 pillars. It just really is, because people do not want to improve themselves. They want to stay sucked into this garbage. And you leaving the muck and the mire, it reflects on them what they are not willing to do for themselves. All right, let's see what else we got. Elon Musk says they didn't even have a show panda. I'm not sure what he's referring to. All right, let's move on. More on the X-Files. Clay Travis. Trump has ended all federal dollars for NPR and PBS. Good for him. Should have happened decades ago. The government shouldn't be funding media outlets with taxpayer dollars. Agree. Let those media companies compete in the marketplace like everyone else. 100% the right move. Based.
America! Fuck yeah!
Accurate. Same thing with Harvard. People are freaking out. Oh my God, Trump is removing funding from Harvard. Oh, he's removed funding for NPR. Why is the government funding any of this? Remember, you're funding it. People act like the government should be paying for these things. Who the fuck do you think pays the government? These people are retarded. People are retarded. They literally are. How do you think the government has money? It's because they steal it from you. They steal it from you and they steal it from your children and your grandchildren. Every time they send money to these fucking garbage organizations to brainwash you, it's your money. Your food gets more expensive. You can't afford retirement. Everything gets suckled away from you. It's your money. It's not the government. Just money fucking falls from the sky. No, it's from you. It's from you. It's all from you. Let's see what else we got. Anything else? Tom Cruise on the side of a cliff. Let's see what else we got here on the timeline. Let's check out this one. This is a clip from Jasmine Crockett, and then we'll get into a couple of videos. The quote is, oh God, 25 seconds. I feel like we might have watched this already. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Jasmine Crockett says, quote, "It's not a criminal violation to enter the country illegally." I feel like we might have watched this before, but it's extra retarded, so let's watch it again if we did. "It's not a criminal violation to enter the country illegally." Just read that. Read that sentence. Read that sentence. Tell me if it makes sense. You can't. "It's not a criminal violation to enter the country illegally." Jesus Christ. You can't make that up.
Everybody knows you never go full
You can't be
retard.
that retarded. Come on now. Let's play this video. Come on now.
It is not a criminal violation to enter the country illegally. It's not a criminal. It's a crime. It's not a crime, which is why they're so frustrated, because they really want our local law enforcement to go out and round up people when they could be looking out for the murderers and the sexual abusers as well as the robbers. They want them to go and round people up on civil accusations. It is not a
Who is voting these? Look, it's just so ghetto, man. I can't believe who the fuck voted for her. What an idiot. What an idiot. I agree with Dewey. Dewey says, "This is how I know elections are rigged. No one's voting for these retards." Here's the thing. A lot of people don't vote in the midterms, right? They don't vote for Congress people. They don't know. So the problem with the Democratic cult, which it is a cult, because all they do is just vote down party lines. So if they see a D, they're voting for the D, which is ironic because if they actually got a D, they wouldn't vote D. They'd vote for logic and common sense. They haven't gotten D in their entire life. This is why we send Mark out there every fucking day. You know, Mark goes out into the world like one of those apocalyptic films and just deals with this shit, plowing all these dumbasses every fucking day. It's not a criminal violation to enter the country illegally. Holy shit. You can't make that up, man. You can't make that up. It's illegal. You enter the country illegally, it's illegal. You're a crime. That's a crime. You get to go back. Oh my God. All right, we'll watch this video. So let's put a pin in that. I've been posting some, gorilla videos or posts like AI stuff, the whole 100 men versus gorilla debate. I posted on Instagram and no one knows what the hell I'm talking about. So apparently X is like its own little bubble. It moves too fast. Things go so fast on X, and then they might make it to Instagram or somewhere else like a couple months later. So it's amazing. If you're not on X, you're not getting news. You're not getting news. You're not part of the conversation. You really aren't. Instagram, like, it's just nonsense bullshit. But X is where you're actually going to find truth. You're actually going to find what's happening. You're going to find a lot of nonsense too. So I just saw this pop up again. We're just looking objectively at what's trending. And this post says they got a scientist to shut down the gorilla versus 100 men debate. So I'm curious as to what this video is. And I've been saying since that whole debate started, people don't realize how strong a fucking gorilla is. But let's see what we're working with here. Let's see if we're working with any IQ points.
I talk about gorillas all day long, so I love that other people are talking about them as well.
Look at this video.
I don't think there's a definitive answer, but I have to say that I would be on the side of the humans in this case. Gorillas come to this with, a ton of power, all that upper body strength. You can see them here kind of just smashing people right and left. They've got incredible jaw strength. But I think the sheer number of humans that they would be up against and the fact that humans could hopefully coordinate their behavior, tag team, take a little bit of a rest while the gorilla would just be going full steam the whole time would really put the advantage in for the humans. I love seeing how engaged people are about gorillas. I mean, they've played a big part in our mythology and our movies. People are clearly fascinated by them, which is wonderful. And so taking that fascination and maybe turning it into action for gorillas so that they have a future on the planet, is a great outcome potentially of this conversation.
What? Ugh. It just turned into like this woke shit. Like, yeah, so gorillas have a place on this planet. It's like, yeah, no one's talking about it because of that. Someone posted I think 100 dudes can take care of a gorilla. So, I mean, are we talking about normal people? Are we talking about the average fat people that we see at Walmart? Again, so I said, I think yesterday or the day before, if you have 100 jujitsu practitioners, that's different because you might have 5 or 6 people that know how to put like a chokehold or hold the arms and be able to have a certain leverage. Yeah, but I mean, how many people can you fit on a gorilla? I don't know. I think it'd be fun to see. I think Mr. B should do it, and we should actually let it rip and just watch people get mauled. Just watch people just get destroyed. Okay. 10 crackheads. All right. Let's get into a couple videos. Do we pick a number? I don't know if we did. We'll do a short one first. Yikes. Let's do this one. Fat phobic is a choice, and then we're going to get fat phobia is a choice. We'll do a couple videos, and then we'll get into overtime.
Fat phobia is actually a choice, and being fat isn't. And even if you don't...
It is a choice. It's a choice you make hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times a day, every day.
Agree with me that fatness isn't a choice.
I don't agree with you. Jesus Christ, you're fugly as shit.
You still don't have to choose to be fatphobic. You don't need to come into our comment. You don't need to call us names.
What are you wearing? What's happening here? Is this a midget? Are you like 3 feet tall? Why is your head so big? What's happening? I don't know where the neck is. I'm just confused. I'm confused what's going on here. You're wearing an apron and that's it? I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening here. Oh, I don't know what's happening.
To dismiss us and discredit us. You don't even need to do all the mental gymnastics it takes just to try and manufacture an argument that is completely false. If, as you say, literally no one cares you're fat, then leave us the fuck alone.
Stop acting like you earn something or you earn respect. Or you don't earn respect by complaining and being a victim. No one cares. Go to the fucking gym. Leave us the fuck alone. Stop making videos. Don't post online if you don't want a response. So if you're defending obesity, then you're going to get shit on because you're an idiot. Okay, diet culture and then trends. Ooh, this could be good. We'll do this one first because it's horrifying, but the other one might be less horrifying, maybe more. All right.
What's in the box?
I've been in the trenches of diet culture since I was like 8 years old. Okay, I think
Notice how all of these have an accent. It's all Australian or UK. What's in the water over there? I don't know. But this is what happens when you block the sun in the UK. You get crazy people.
My parents put me on my first Atkins diet at 8. And that started a 20-year-long, like, fucked up relationship with dieting, with my body, with food. Like, it's absolutely insane. And I've been thinking about it. Every time I was following these diets, anytime I lost a significant amount of weight, I would put it back on plus more. And it really makes me wonder, like, what would my body look like now if I just never waged a war on it? If someone...
It would look worse. If that's possible.
Had have just said, do you know what, it's actually okay to love your body. You don't have to start dieting. You don't have to start hating yourself at 8 years old. I just wonder who I would be, what I would look like, what kind of relationship I would have with my body and my food. I know it's not just me. Like, who would we be?
You're you, because you keep on telling this bullshit story to yourself. Again, here's an example of someone that just keeps on continuously telling the same story to themselves that no one else cares about, no one else knows about. You're perpetuating this bullshit narrative that 8 years old, some people were sexually abused, some people didn't have parents, some people didn't have good food. It's like, okay, what are your choices making now? I bet they still suck. I bet they've sucked your entire life. You're going to blame fucking what happened to you at 8 years old as to like how you take care of yourself today? Get the fuck out of here, man. All right, one more. This one's called Trends. Trends.
What's in the box?
Trends. And then we go into OT.
Cultural and social media trends cycle like a pendulum swings. That's why we've gone from the kind of like girl boss, like hustle culture, grind culture, to this kind of place where we were, where any kind of discipline or hustle was seen as kind of cringy and tacky. This also relates to the
discipline is never looked at as cringy or tacky, only by victims.
Kind of trends we see in bodies and politics related to bodies. These things move in extreme.
Politics related to bodies. Politics related to bodies. Oh, please explain that one.
The response to the Tumblr era, like ED glorification.
Tumblr was a fucking hot pile of garbage. Tumblr was the ultimate woke shithole until it shut down and everyone filtered onto other platforms.
Swung to the body positivity and fat liberation, which then spiraled out of control as well. And now the pendulum has swung back with talk. It's all related. It's all poignant, and it signals what's going on politically as well. I just want to remind you that life outside of these social media micro trends exists for you to live. And
oh my God, life off of social media exists? Why, thank you. Cool. Yes, I agree. People with mental disorders should not be on social media. I agree with you.
Having nuance in your own approach and ideas and being unapologetic about it is a great way to combat these harmful cycles.
Yeah, I'm being unapologetic about telling people that are fat that they need to start taking care of themselves and that their life is in their own control. So get off your ass, stop being a victim, and go to the fucking gym. All right, based. Based me.
Matt Damon.
All right, fam. That's what we got today. But yeah, it's on Reddit now. All the libtards are on Reddit. So let's get
funny
into
how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown.
overtime. So head on over to the Daily Swole Telegram chat. Let me actually, come to think of it, I need to load up the stream over there in the Dairy Swore Telegram chat. All right, so that's available now. So you can head on over into the Daily Swole Telegram chat. And let's give away today's Swole card and let's get into overtime. We got a brand new Driving While Gaining and new Balls Deep edits. Let's fucking go. Swole card time. Hashtag FEF for a chance to win today's Swole card. Let's give it away, give it away, give it away, give it away now. Scroll, 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 scroll your boat. Who dropped a FEF? Not landing on a single one, you guys. Scroll, 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 scroll. All right, got a winner. Man, didn't land on any of them. All right, today's winner is Pam. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Pam S15. Well, excellent. Excellent. Congratulations. Send us an email to support@snormous.com. Swolecard 3283 in the subject, your mailing address in the body of the email. Isn't that fantastic?
Hi, puppy.
Congratulations, Pam. Congratulations, fam. Let's get into overtime. Starts right now. 2 minutos.
Finish him.
Dos minutos. All right, fam. We are starting in 2 minutes, so head on over to the Daily Swole Telegram chat. Overtime starts right now. Join the fam, swolenormousx.com, to get access to all the exclusive bonus content. And of course, we have the Tainty Man. Aww. There's more taint waiting for you inside the Daily Swole Telegram chat for overtime. Thanks for being here, Beaches. Appreciate you. And we will see you next time. And overtime starts in 2 minutes. Beaches, click the links in the bio. Join the fam today. The Daily Swole Telegram chat. 2 minutes. Overtime starts right now. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next time. Peace, McGee's, Deuce, Magoose, your boy, Papa Swolio. Out.
I just wanna win on the low, like